Fiji's autumn and a real coming of age for this new look Irish lineup. But first, we'll have the anthems.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, the anthems will be played for us today by the Army #1 band, conducted by Captain Tom Kelly.
Well, they have turned out in their thousands, 50,000 of them to be precise, despite how blustery and grey it is today. The conditions as greasy as the bottom of a bag of potatoes. But this will turn up the heat. Fiji's cultural challenge. It's time for the Thimby. The president, the anthems, the challenge laid down and the hackles raised accordingly. Let's get into the teams. Andy Farrell has given us 7 changes and a bit of a voyage of discovery today as the 2027 World Cup looms on Irish horizons. Tweaks to the pack ushering in debutants Gus McCarthy and Cormac Izuchukwu, the startlingly athletic Ulsterman. 21-year-old Sam Prendergast gets the keys to the kingdom on his first start, no doubt receiving the zippiest of service from Craig Casey, whilst out wide Jacob Stockdale has battled back to the number 11 jersey he once called his own. Fiji's physicality has never been in doubt, but we are long past the days of bemoaning their scrum as an Achilles heel. Aroni Maui and Luke Tangi flex enormous muscles on a weekly basis amongst Europe's elite, and Tavita Ikanavere is growing into a totemic figure. Caleb Muntz seemingly has it all. The cool head of a fly half with 50 caps, not 12, and Mary Poppins' box of tricks. His ability to both temper and catalyse will be essential this afternoon. Double Prendergast today. Brother Cian is amongst the replacements, and a similarly prodigious figure wears 19 for the visitors. Tetareki Tarangafoke became Fiji's youngest ever debutant in Spain last week, and the 18-year-old marks the occasion with a try for good measure. The biggest day of Sam Prendergast's life, and Gus McCarthy's and Cormac Izuchukwu's. The sort of day Caleb Muntz is growing rather accustomed to. Mick Byrne called that magnificent result at the Principality a landmark moment. The sort that Fiji need to keep on having. We want to be living in this arena, he said. Well, they found themselves in another one today. Two sides who make history on a regular basis, and the same can be said of our referee. Harley Davidson gets the whistle for this one. On the greyest and grisliest of Dublin afternoons, there is one nation you want pinwheeling across and lighting up the Aviva. And here they are. Fiji, the thunderous challenge ahead of an island with so much to prove, collectively and as individuals. Muntz all in white getting us underway, and Craig Casey's first duty is in green to clear. Gathered by a soaring Boate Karawa Levu, the young and towering fullback. Muntz now. Right across the centre of the Aviva is his co-captain, Ikanavere. Vote. And this Thuren Alangi. Up from Muntz. Expect plenty of that this afternoon. They don't just run it anymore, Fiji. 27 kicks from hand in Cardiff.
You're playing him and he's not part of the ruck.
The first blood to the Irish.
Yeah,
Number 3 taking out the clearer.
From Tangi, isn't it? He just played too far ahead of the ruck. He's the one that gets picked up, taking the player out off the ball. But yeah, really good start for Ireland. Nice and simple. You know, I think they have to be brave. You know, when they see Fiji, you see Osborne getting an early start, that'll be so comforting to them.
I think the breakdown's going to be a massive area of this game. Ireland have given away a lot of penalties over the last few months. It's an area they've got to work on. They're attacking hard, but we've already seen them really attacking that Fijian breakdown. Fiji need to make sure, although they're looking for the offload, that they resource the ruck, otherwise they're going to come unstuck very quickly.
So much expected of Cormac Izuchukwu, and unfortunately his first involvement in an Ireland jersey is to be hoisted up to seize a wonky line-out.
Okay, left of the mark.
It's a tight one, isn't it? Wasn't going, didn't really have a competitive pod against him. Molly Davidson laying down the law very early, and the first chance to look at these two scrums going head to head.
She mustn't have read the programme, realising it's Gus McCarthy's first cap. You know, give him the benefit of the doubt on the first one, surely.
It's tough at the top, Gus.
Well, Davidson had a front row seat as Cardiff was stunned a fortnight ago. She was running the touch on that occasion and running now because that's been hoofed upfield towards Jamie Osborne. with a wonderful bit of footwork there to wrong foot his opposite number, and Jacob Stockdale back on the left wing for Ireland, just a third cap in 3 years, rakes that through and onto Muntz, makes the tackle too. Fine work from the Ulsterman. Thana Kaivata wearing 8 for the Flying Fijians, one of the great discoveries they've made of late under the stewardship of Mick Byrne. Such a talent. Tuisova's tackle on an airborne Osborne, but safely ushered down onto Irish turf, and it's Henshaw.
Tuisova just pulled out of that in time. He was about to whack him in the air and realised he was still airborne.
Oh, maybe not. Sorry, Alan, get the second penalty of the game. Just watching the kick chase of Van der Fleer here and how quickly he reacts. He's the first to react to the kick. You see, just going down the 15-metre line, and he forces Muntz to play how he doesn't want to, forces him back to where the rest of the Irish support are coming.
Just too early.
But it's just that ability to get up hard, read the kick before everyone else, and force the covering player into an area he doesn't want to be. That'd be really important, particularly against a team like Fiji that's so good at counter-attack. They want to play off those loose kicks.
Oh, it's a brave kick too. Good on you, Sam Prendergast. Easy thing to do would be just to play it safe, but he's gone for every little bit of that. All of 6 metres out makes such a difference between, for a line-out maul drive, 10 metres out versus 6 metres out gives his hooker Gus McCarthy every chance, redeeming himself and setting up a great attacking opportunity.
Round the corner comes the debutant, round the other corner comes his captain. That's better. That's the Irish side that we have come to know under Andy Farrell. What a start.
Well, your ultimate training ground move, and Fiji make it very easy by not even looking like they're going to compete. Alan Winnett look like they're going to have a mini drive, and then flip back to the new man, Gus McCarthy. Gets his throw right this time, gets his line perfectly round the corner, and then with support on his outside from Bundy Aki, it's Doris back on the inside. And as soon as he's got the ball in his hands, he's always going to have the momentum against defenders that are coming side on for a head-on drive over the line. Perfect start for the home team.
Beneath the lights at the Aviva, Sam Prendergast has his first points in international rugby. Remember the moment, we suspect there will be a fair few more down the pipeline.
Great start for Ireland. 5 minutes in, exactly what we were talking about, just getting this Aviva crowd in behind them, give them something early to cheer on. Lovely set play. Spencer from the training ground worked exactly as they would have hoped, and to knock over the conversion as well. Ideal start.
Just think it was a little bit too reactive in the defence from Fiji. When you're on your own line, you've got to go out and force teams into errors, and from not going up at the line out or even looking like they weren't going to, everything was very standoff. What are they doing to us? And by that stage, 5 metres out, you're always going to be in trouble.
Well, Craig Casey has just ricocheted off at Canavera, and there was a little snipe from the ever-scheming Lamani off the back of it. Muntz looking for the width, feeding the speed of Wainakolo, but Prendergast immediately just giving a bit of an answer to those who wondered about his willingness to put shots in on the Flying Fijians. The first tackle there for Ireland's newest standoff. Naifalevu. Ball under one meaty bicep, riding the tackle, and then with a little run-up is their fullback. 6'4" and over 100 kilos is young Vuate Korawalevu. Josh Van der Fleer showing all of that nous, but didn't quite get his hands on it fully. Another fend. Craig Casey's had a torrid 30 seconds, and there's shades of Thomas Williams going head over heels at the Principality there.
Oh no, here we go again. He makes his tackle this time. Well, that was nearly so nice from Salawa. He's injured himself. which is a big worry, but got his kick free. It just couldn't stay in field, but poor old Casey smashed out of the way. And he gets himself bravely back up into the defensive line, and it's over with the big, no room on my bus, son.
It's so hard to know where to whack them. You know, you think they've got tree trunk legs. I don't know if going up high on some of these Fijians is the place to go either. I think he can get fended off. Any player can get fended off, but Josh Chuistova, I think Craig Casey needs to find himself in that kick zone behind or out on the extremity, as we see an awful lot of nines these days.
Are they going to look at whether a player rolls onto the leg here?
Okay.
On TMO today, Mike Adamson.
Is it high? Oh, little shoulder, just a shoulder to the head, I think they're looking at. Oh, that is, to me, deliberate. Whether he steps across the line, he could be in big trouble here, because it's always illegal. Tucked arm.
Well, he's definitely going to go to the bin for it. It's just a matter of whether there's potential for an upgrade in this.
Happy with that, Mike?
Yep, stand by.
Okay.
The problem he faces, because the arm's always tucked,
Thanks. So
it's always foul play.
There's no mitigation there. As soon as it's foul play, there's no mitigation.
So it'll be a yellow card against 10 green and off-field review. Yes. So tucked arm to the head.
I think this will be upgraded.
We know that players try to exist in a bit of a vacuum to stay focused on the task at hand, but do you think there's any chance that the narrative in the week around Prendergast, the work he's going to have defensively today, has played into that in some capacity?
Well, what we have to remember, and people at home will be going, oh, what's he doing? But in slow motion, things often look a lot worse. So I know that's really... I presume what he's doing is, I'll step across, leave my shoulder on him. He's not thinking I'm going to hit him in the head with my shoulder, but I'll let him know that I'm going to check him. Unfortunately, when you do things like that and things go wrong, there's no as Dricko said, there's no mitigation at all, and it looks awful. I'm sure he didn't mean to hit him in the head, but he's deliberately stuck one on him and got his timing wrong, his height wrong, and I think he's now going to be red carded.
Fiji with front football courtesy of Saracens. Irone Maui pinwheeling and bulldozing through the tackle, but stripped in the process. And Ireland attacking down a man through Izuchukwu.
I think that might have been a forward pass there. Referee Holly Davison hasn't spotted it on the turnover. Little pop pass to get Ireland attack going. Looked as though move forward.
Wait.
Big left boot of Jamie Osborne making a meaty gain.
Green on the way.
Osborne stepping up, filling in for Prendergast, has that ability. Ireland now will be slightly ruffled by this.
They're a side in transition and all the growing pains that you might expect. How will they respond? Tuisova waiting for no invitation to barrel onwards there, and it's a pinpoint kick from Munt, popped back in field, Prop on the rampage in the Aviva, Tangi with the carry, Wainigolo with the drive, reaching, stretching, did he get that down?
I think he's short. I think he might be short. Brilliantly constructed play from Fiji, knew exactly what they were doing, isolating Craig Casey out on the wing. They knew he was going to be hovering out there.
Mike.
Referee isn't fully sure herself.
Just short and then lost forward, but we just want to make sure.
I think she's right. Just
yes.
I think if it does get onto the line, it's potentially one of those that gets rolled forward onto the line. Knees are down. It's an immediate place. Whether there's another angle further back.
It's actually not. But there's no leg tackle.
No, that's short.
The first
for me.
Irish player makes the tackle on him, that's why I'm not seeing it as blocking.
I don't think it's lost forward. It's still in control there to play on.
I think it gets kicked out of his hands, doesn't it? Just right at the end, which is why the ball ends up going backwards. I think Stockdale's boot just nudges it.
Yeah, Give us some space. Yep.
Certainly not enough to overrule the on-field decision.
But also, I think we need to see what actually happened to the ball after that, because he still looks as though he's still in
short,
control.
Then lost forward, so it's going to be a scrum, Ireland.
Well, no try.
Such a shame. Tanguy's carry, superb. The aerial ability on the crossfield kick, targeting Casey with a man in the bin and having to shuffle that defence. Muntz spots the opportunity to come back down the blindside crossfield kick, and then just that handling ability and athleticism of this Fijian side. It's huge disappointment for the coaching staff.
Porter, McCarthy and Beelam, Maui, Akanavere and Tanguy sucking in oxygen, no doubt.
Bind! Set!
So swiftly in and out that was, and it's the skipper, the try scorer.
No, you're off feet. No.
Extricates it and buys them the time that they need. Not the easiest of passes there for Osborne to receive, and he's done relatively well under a whole heap of pressure.
No angle at all for him. As soon as that pressure came, he had to revert towards the touchline to the safety away from those onrushing blockers. Did actually quite well under the circumstance. Still great attacking position for Fiji. Stay on this concerted pressure against Ireland. Disappointed not to get on the score sheet. Haven't given up open. Producing at least a 5-pointer from this spell of pressure.
Co-captain Akanavere, they like to aim for the tail, Fiji, but that much too ambitious. Van der Fleer passing it backwards onto Arki.
Wait there, boys.
And that clearance, a ton better. Fiji go quickly, skittling past the fullback with a hitch step, with absolutely nobody to beat. Beelam does well to grab a swinging ankle to the open. There you go, the props are having a party so far. This, Mayana Vanua. Lamani swiftly away and onto Tanguy, who is full of running today. Tanguy onto Arki. Heavyweight clash, if ever Dublin has been treated to one.
Huge hit from Arki. Just got done a little bit. Tonguy's step just made it much more difficult, but heavyweight contest.
Akanavere, the carries being shared between the front row, but the plaudits going the way of big Joe McCarthy. Ball stripped. He did flag the threat at the breakdown, Ben.
When you're an offloading team, your primary focus is one of my team might offload, you always have to hesitate before you get into that breakdown. Gives Ireland an opportunity.
Oh, what a shot that is. Probably argue it's on the wrong side. He gets his head in front of the collision, but when it's that big, that's forceful.
The card,
there's only going to be one result.
Force was not high, not a high level of danger.
Time off, captain. And two. Yep. The yellow card will remain a yellow card, not a high degree of danger, okay? Time back on.
I think he's lucky. Look, I know maybe the force wasn't that big, but when it's sort of slightly cynical and you deliberately check someone, for me, you know, that against someone getting a timing of a tackle wrong, it doesn't sit right.
But I thought mitigation was removed when if you're always illegal, which he was, because there was no attempt to wrap.
Number 4.
The card will remain a yellow one, so we're a few minutes away from having Sam Prendergast back on the field. In the meantime, Masaki Bothe pinged at the line out. And 14-man Ireland will have all the territory they could possibly want.
Yeah, the penalty count just starting to be a slight problem for the Fijians. Not on the right side of Molly Davison at the moment.
That's going to be your mark.
Well, discipline an issue for both of these outfits coming into this one. Ireland's conceding 54 points off opposition T over their last 3 test matches, and Fiji doing all they could to throw away a historic result in Cardiff, down to 13 at points. But it's them with the player advantage now. Missing a host of black and white clad bodies to this maul. Cleanly away. Archie finding Henshaw on an incisive line tackle, had to be made. Offload, smuggled away, and Ireland 6 metres out with an advantage to Flax.
Starts to become a conversation about yellow cards as well.
Thank you.
This is a massive tackle by Lamani. Look at the work of the Fijian scrum half. He plays in behind. It's a great line break. He doesn't make that tackle on Henshaw. That's try time.
Have a word. The next
prior to the infringement.
Let him have a word.
Referee Holly Davidson laying down the law. Another infringement, and we're going to see a yellow card.
No. It's not a conversation. That's my message. Discipline must improve.
Just brilliant from Aki, wasn't it? Just that slight delay on the pass. Doesn't actually do any footwork. He just allows the defence to come, but importantly keeps his shoulders square.
Again, we talk pre-game about Naya Salebu and reading through.
Ireland go quickly, and it's the captain at the heart of it. Doris finding Josh van der Fleer on his shoulder. They have their second. Against the flow of territory and possession and the fact that they were shorn of their fly half. 12-0 with 15 minutes gone in Dublin.
Well, Ireland have made these quick taps their own. We've seen such variety from them over the course of the last year or 18 months. A little switch hit back against the grain. And when you create a one-on-one opportunity for a ball carrier of Josh van der Fleer's capacity right at the line, it's going to take some enormous shot to stop him. Even if you make a neutral tackle, he's going to have enough momentum to get over the line. Is there a query around the put down?
Okay, Ollie, try is good.
Okay, shot clock back on. Yeah.
No Prendergast on the field, so kicking duties fall to Casey. Fairly straightforward effort, and so it proves 14-0.
Well, 2 tries that are all about, maybe they were just looking at the grounding there. I think they were happy, didn't need to go for a formal review, but 2 tries scored in the same way, really, manipulating the Fijian forward pack and getting them to converge and all mark the simple thing, be that the maul or then that initial tap and go, and all the forwards converge for Fiji, and then they just bring round a late sweep runner, and there's no one at home by Naya Salebu, and he wasn't going to be able to win that collision on his own. Van der Fleer with the good line, but at the moment Fiji not defending clever.
Doris with the assist to go with the earlier try, then the kickoff receipt, and a trip to Monaco, of course, tomorrow, nominated for World Player of the Year. Recognition of a brilliant season in green.
We talked about Aki's big tackle a few minutes ago when he was on the receiving end from Josh Tuasova. Equally comfortable on the wing or in centre. He is a human wrecking ball.
They call him the bus for a reason. He's lurking in the midfield. Here he is now. This time doesn't take the direct route, but the little tip-on pass, and it's Ireland's turn to cough up a penalty.
Sideburn going through the line out, thinking the ball's coming off the top, but just that hold in the air, as teams often do, just to keep the tail gunners of a line-out defence honest. Little show like you might give it off the top, but then land and then hope that they've already gone. Best case scenario, you get a penalty, but failing that, those flying defenders have to retreat as the ball comes out.
An opportunity now to get some points.
Just watch Byrne there, he starts to go thinking it's coming off the top, backtracks, but slightly fortunate to get the penalty, Fiji. But I think Holly Davidson just thinking, well, if they'd wanted to give it quickly, they couldn't. An opportunity to get something on the board, crucially important before the yellow clock runs down. The yellow card clock runs down.
I do think you'll see a lot of referees probably keeping their whistle in the pocket for moments like that, wanting the game to play on. It's a case of Given the benefit of the doubt, as you suggest, then that maybe they did want to play it and they weren't afforded that opportunity, but nonetheless, Fiji on the score sheet. That man, Caleb Muntz, was a huge loss for them during the World Cup. Obviously got injured in advance of it. What they potentially could have done with him dictating play at 10, but back playing some really, really good rugby for them and leading them around the park the last few weeks.
The cool heads in a team of Mavericks. He's got an opposite number. Once more, Sam Prendergast is back with us as Ireland pepper the short side. Doris again, how busy the captain has been. Now the penalty at worst.
Davison wants to have a look at this.
Number 1, too many penalties, lifting tackle, off you go.
I say she was right there to see it if it was to do with tipping someone over the horizontal, but she did ask Aroni Maui while he was in the middle of the tackle to make sure he put the ball carrier down safely.
It would have just been a penalty? Yeah.
This one's dead. We talked about his bravery earlier on, Sam Prendergast. Well, he's gone bitten off too much of the corner and he's kicked it dead.
I actually think the card should have gone to Tuisova there, because he actually does the action of throwing the man down. Aroni Maui just lifted the tackle.
Repeated. No, guys, scrummer 22. Scrummer 22.
Well, she's been kept very busy, is Holly Davidson, over the first quarter of this one.
22.
Pair of cards, glut of penalties, and 30 men who seem determined to choose the opposite set piece.
Back you go.
Scrummer 22 was the option. Didn't take too long to respond. That 22 was their option, as much as they've improved significantly at scrum time. It's not one of their great strengths, so an opportunity to relieve pressure and get Ireland back into their own territory.
And 2 release.
Also difficult to scrummage when you're missing your loose head, who is one of your finest architects of that particular set piece. Aroni Maui at the heart of the second best scrum at the last World Cup, and who shunted and shoved Welshmen off the park all day long in Cardiff. But that will turn up for Fijian books.
Completely lost their shape there, Ireland. Craig Casey was looking for his 10. He obviously wanted a forward pod of some sort to hit up. He was waiting in behind, not expecting the ball. And that was actually a really good option, just the execution wasn't quite right. Caught it too well and looking for 50-22, but kicked it out on the full.
Well, the prodigious palm of his Chukwu batted that one down, but Fiji really well to regather. Mayana Vanua with a little chuck up over the gain line, straight over it was Porter. Brilliant from the loose head. Craig Casey is off and isolated, and look at the bodies in white descending upon him as he offloads and finds Gus McCarthy. Lamani is down, clutching an ankle. Fiji down to 13 in their defensive line, so up flies Waingolo. Might not have been the right decision, because there are Irish bodies in motion now. Casey with the pirouette and the tip-on. Here is McCarthy. Osborne hauled down. All of a sudden, Irish tails are up. There is blood in the water. Byrne places it backwards. Prendergast assesses his options. Hansen with a lofted pass onto the debutant, but it's forwards.
And the ball drifts forward. Holly Davidson right in line with it. There was a much easier option. There was acres of space out there. Prendergast maybe should have gone to the boot. But they look to play. Great break from Casey.
Yeah, I think Salah is very unlucky here. It looks as though he's first in to turn the ball over. Not that ruck. Great interplay from Ireland, keeping the ball alive, changing the point of contact, not allowing that Fijian defence to set it all. Little tip on and quick clear, and look at that speed. A ruck ball is everything.
Perfect.
And then just doesn't quite get the grip on it, does he, Mac Hansen? You don't see the perfect spiral in the pass. He's perplexed.
Tuisova was the end man. They'd all got so tight against Fiji under the sticks. Just could they buy themselves a little bit more time, Ireland, and find that space out wide? a little bit earlier.
Okay, no problem. Time off. Substitution for Fiji. Number 7.
Yeah, you look at Hansen's
7.
expression when it was thrown. Oh, I tell you, there's not much in that, is there? That is tight as you like.
Thank you.
If you think about
Time back on.
momentum, if he doesn't get hit there, I think that
In and set. Hookers in and set.
absolutely looks as though
Okay.
it's a much better picture. It's because he gets stopped. You don't actually get an appreciation of when a player carries forward after the pass. It's a momentum piece. So many passes go forward. He gets hit and doesn't have that chance.
It was good defence from Wainagolo, wasn't it? Because he had to do it. They were never going to be able to mark off. He couldn't afford to hang off, so he flies up, and actually by tackling him, although he doesn't stop the ball being got away, he does make the picture look slightly different to the referee.
In the meantime, Fiji have lost their scrum half. Frank Lomani, the Androa co-captain, is off. So on comes Penny Matawalu, wearing number 21.
Crouch.
Just the one appearance at the last World Cup.
Bind.
That famous afternoon in Toulouse,
Set.
where Portugal got their first ever World Cup victory. Not a happy memory for these Fijians. We've come here in hunt of something a little bit more auspicious.
69.
Guys, you're going to be on the tee, okay?
What a difference this man has
You
made
guys have any?
to this Fijian outfit. Still
7?
just 25 years
7
old. This only his 13th cap, which is really quite extraordinary. Player of the match in Cardiff. That lovely moment at the end of his interview where he thanked his mum and dad who'd made the trip over from Hamilton to be in the stands, to watch him compound Welsh woes. Wainagolo off the line out with an audacious offload right off the deck. Ball is messy though, and his skipper has a hoovering up job to do. To Asova. More involvements, you feel, already this afternoon than in previous autumnal outings for Fiji. He really does make his presence
Yes, 9,
felt.
use it.
Into the pocket. Muntz
Oh, there. 3, wait. 3. Thank you.
does well.
Great kick. Under real pressure. Stockdale waiting there, hoping that it was going to drop short, but gets a really good angle and huge distance. Takes them back to the
Guys, you're
halfway
good there.
line.
Has really had an opportunity to get into the game so far. Jacob Stockdale, we know how devastating he can be with ball in hand. He's had limited opportunity thus far.
Ireland with quick ball off the line out. You mentioned Stockdale, he's in and amongst it, but it's his back three partner, Jamie Osborne now. Ball in 2 hands. Look at the work rate of Stockdale over the shoulder, looking to find the mustachioed menace that is Mac Hansen, but it's not quite to be.
Right on cue, just as I was saying, it was quiet so far from Jacob Stockdale. Watch the amount of touches he has here. 1 and a second one. He's meant to get that ball potentially out the back, but he stays alive on the link play.
Finlay.
And beautiful offload.
Just on the
Mac Hansen will be
crouch.
disappointed not to take that. That's there. It's not quite in the breadbasket, but he should be taking that one and maybe keeping it alive on the inside. I think he probably had an idea about what he was going to do with the ball before it was in his grasp.
Very good, okay?
Oh, yeah, much better from Jacob Stockdale. Always talk about multiple involvements in any backline launch. Usually talk about your 10. If he has 2 involvements, your team score a try. If he has 3 involvements, he scores the try.
All good?
That was almost the case with
It's gonna be on
Jacob
the 5, yeah.
Stockdale.
Time back on, please.
He's got a very, very impressive strike rate for Ireland.
Hey, no water.
19 scores in 37 tests and counting. Bursting onto the scene with that try-on debut against the USA back in 2017, and then irresistible, undroppable, until a torrid time with an ankle injury and the appearance of a certain James Lowe.
Set!
Tairati Hatat on in the place of Aroni Maui, still serving his sentence
Tackle away,
for
Ireland!
those multiple infringements. He's watching on as a 14-man Fiji look to exit their 22. Tries from Doris and Van der Fleer. And the sole penalty off the tee from Caleb Muntz to Isova has just sent Matt Hansen back into October with that shot. Prendergast.
Lots of space out here, though.
Centre to centre, Henshaw to Archie, who straightens and floors in. It takes a pair of Fijians to haul him down. Came into contact with so much power that the ball just squirted from his grasp. Matawalu finding only Prendergast. Ireland on the counter. Hansen riding that contact well.
Excellent defence from Tanguy. He could easily have switched off, but he worked hard on the inside of Tuisova, made the tackle.
To the line is Prendergast, flat pass, finding Van der Fleer with a head of steam beneath that scrum cap. Such quick service from Casey, but Prendergast clattered. Ball gathered by Stockdale, who tiptoes and tosses over the touchline.
Fiji have lost all their shape in defence, and Ireland picking them apart. They're getting space out wide, which means Naithalevu is completely isolated. He's wanting to stay slightly wide because he can see the wrap-round defenders, but everyone else has jammed in on the inside, and it's another great line from Van der Fleer, back against the grain.
That's a try-saving tackle from Vainicolo. He gets man and ball just because he locks up the arm. That's a 2-on-1 if it goes to Stockdale. He's going to put the player outside him away if he draws the full back. Huge collision from the Fijian winger.
Well, that will be of some concern. Jamie Osborne in some considerable discomfort leaving the field. So Kieran Frawley is back on. What a turbulent time he's had in that jersey of late. Double drop goals for glory in Durban, and then dropped after a horror cameo against the All Blacks a couple of weeks ago. But Andy Farrell, speaking in the week, said how eager he was to right the wrongs of that Friday night against New Zealand. He's given him permission to go out there tonight, Brian, and just be himself.
Well, it's painful, isn't it, when you are sat out of a game that you would dearly like to be involved in against Argentina. You know only too well those 20 minutes were certainly not his finest. You want to shake any memories of them, and then your next opportunity you want to make sure that you shine. Really important thing from his perspective is not to try too hard, just to do the simple things really well. Basics, particularly at full-back, that's where he got his previous start for Ireland in the Six Nations. Was very, very effective, and he just needs to keep it nice and calm and collected and do all the simple things very, very well.
Yes, 9.
Casey with a 15-metre pass onto Archie, who finds Prendergast. Now this is Frawley rolling and tumbling beneath Fijian advances.
High tackle. Just went over the top of the shoulder, and you saw the arm right up into the head. Penalty only, but again another penalty against Fiji. That's been the huge concern for the Fijian coaching ticket, just how many penalties they've given away. Still a man in the bin, about to rejoin us. But Ireland will get the opportunity to kick into the corner. Maui desperate to get back on before this line-out's thrown in. He's not going to be allowed to by the looks of things.
He's coming on, guys.
Oh yeah, he is now allowed.
Ripples across the surface of the puddles outside the Aviva as Aroni Maui rumbles back on. And Kitione Salawa, the full guy, is back with us. So we'll see you in a bit. Harati Hetat and Gus McCarthy. What have you got?
6 man, please. 6 man. 6.
Well, this has been an area of concern, hasn't it? Can they stay alert? You'd expect a drive at some point from this Irish team. Fiji staying down again. This time it is a direct straight drive. Body shape's good, both sides.
Drills clean and Maul making headway. Just a couple of metres in it now. McCarthy in the blue boots has it at the base. There's a sea of bodies in front of him as he ducks a shoulder and carries hard. Shot made by Tuisova.
I don't know if it was a clear release from Tuisova. Could be in trouble again.
Time off again. No, thank you. That time it's Fiji 12 offside. We're back down here in the 22 and we're giving away... Yeah. We're giving away more penalties again. Discipline again, please. Yeah. Time is off. That's what I've just spoken to them about.
Didn't see the offside, but certainly when he went to the ruck, made the tackle, didn't look as though it was a clear release before he went back in to try and pilfer the ball.
McCarthy there just maybe sent him early because the whole maul went down. McCarthy almost separated with a long arm. Was he fully bound?
You let me know.
Not sure he was. Tuisoba went through, but I agree. It looked like he played the ball on the floor as well once he'd got his hands on it.
Just off the 5. Just off the 5.
Half an hour played. And it's an arcing, looping ball over to Tykeburn, who's in at the heart of this. Fiji flocking to the maul. Every little helps. Might have just been turned over. Oh no, it's with Casey, who is diving over the whitewash for Ireland's thirds. They are leaner and meaner today than they have been in some time.
It's a really well-worked try. We saw them all nearly come to a try despite the penalty from Tuisoba, but this again, the straight drive. But it's when they find a little gap in the armour of Fiji. They see it to the right. Here come the cavalry from the backs. Now they've got a mismatch. They end up rolling out through McCarthy. He sees space out there, and rather than die with the ball, offloads it to Casey, who lifts his leg as he dives over the line to ensure he can't be put into touch. It's a smart finish, but again, that Ireland pack at the moment manipulating the Fijian one when they're in this 5-metre red zone.
That is a proper tester for Sam Prendergast, and he nails it. There's a definite sense we're gazing into a crystal ball here at the Aviva. Craig Casey's first international try, and Sam Prendergast slotting it home from the touchline.
Whenever you're ready.
It's an excellent offload from Gus McCarthy. Sometimes it does pay to be a little bit smaller target. Craig Casey that time has been struggling on the defensive side of things, but in attack he showed what he's capable of. Great striker-esque score, identified a corner and exploited it.
I think Fiji's problem when they're in that area, and we saw it with the first try, the first driving line out, you have to cause chaos because Ireland are just too smart a team. They'll absorb and they'll take your first hit. So Fiji not even looking like they're going to go up at the line out just makes Ireland know, right, just get those drills right. Don't need to throw it too high. We don't need to put pressure on our hooker. Get all our lifting right. And then once we get set, you know, all those backs are going to come in and join, and they're going to try and find a weak point with Fiji over-committing to stop the first part of the drive.
Around the corner. You need to go straight first, not round.
Well, from bad to worse for the Fijians. Prendergast will have another opportunity to march Ireland upfield. We just saw how much time they have spent in the box office in the Fijian 22.
This is huge, isn't it? First one from the scrum. Most of it has been around the breakdown for Fiji, but they have to get this discipline sorted. Ireland will be really happy. It's been a bit of a problem for theirs over this Autumn Nations series. They've been much more squeaky. They haven't been as great on in some of their line-out delivery. He's had a good start to his international career. There's Gus McCarthy, but 2 not straights now. That'll eat away at a hooker.
That's your mark.
Different opponents, of course, but we must remember that Fiji were 14-3 down against Wales in Cardiff before they got their act together, and they trailed Spain last week in Valladolid by 19 points to 7 before going on to score 4 unanswered tries. So they've got a comeback in their box of tricks.
They're a team that, because of the way they play, that tends to suit a team chasing the game. And as a result, when that fatigue comes in and they can exploit some of those slightly later defensive reads, they become a really good side. And also you then have the psychological impact on the opposition when you've got a comfortable lead and suddenly that starts to disappear.
Tuisova makes 10 metres through the midfield and bruises just as many Irish ribs. Karawa Levu, who's represented Fiji in both codes, now carrying hard up that wide channel. Ireland making such a mess of things at the breakdown. Joe McCarthy there, popping it up and on to Van der Fleer. Need a scrum half. Here he comes, but not before Fiji can turn it back over. Muntz back against the grain. Prendergast in hot pursuit onto Darren Alangi. What an athlete he is, what a find. And on to Mayana Vanua. Canivere.
Got some numbers out on that left-hand side if they can create quick ruck ball. Ireland managed to slow it down enough to be able to get an extra number around the corner, shut down the prospects of that attack.
Use it, Nine.
Naya Falevu there with an audacious dummy, but well read by Van der Fleer, so they opt to go to the heavens. Frawley on to Stockdale, who's got men on either shoulder, but the tackle is made and through the washer he goes. Crawl rises quickly, has it now, pops it back onto Prendergast, this time in its second receiver. Beautiful hand from Van der Fleer, bouncing ball stepped on by Archie, reaching.
I think that one's forward as well.
Definitely looks it. Allowed to play on are Fiji, and this time they have the penalty.
Right up until that point, that's exactly how Ireland like to play. Watch Byrne here and Frawley. Watch Frawley's line in behind, gets as close as he can, steps out the shadows late. That forces the outside defenders from Fiji all to step in, so you can play out of the back. Just the quality of that last pass from Van der Fleer, not quite up to it, but that is Ireland flowing in their game plan, Brian.
That's exactly what they want to do. They want to manipulate those defences with those short runners. And when the defence bites in, that's when they go out the back. And when you've got good decision makers in those key positions, as Ireland did in that instance, they can hold possession, and then someone like Prendergast can pick that wider pass as they clambered in each time, and annoyed not to put it away. It was very, very well worked inside, just last the killer punch.
No hands right,
Neither
Fiji.
side can buy a line out right now. Casey back and on to Prendergast, who's got mazy feet when he wants them, spirals that one. Finds Karawa Walevu, who opts to hoist that one high and set off in a hot pursuit. Prendergast calls it, looks up, sees a Fijian flying at him and then past him. Here's Gus McCarthy, who was Prendergast's skipper when they marched to an under-20s Grand Slam just 2 years ago. And Farrell saying in the week.
Fiji again very narrow defensively, easy meters on the outside potentially for Ireland here.
Crawley has just been melted by a shot from Maui.
There's got to be a penalty if nothing comes of this.
Clutching his ribs. That will have stung. Casey, opportunistic, over the top, pinning Fiji back.
TMO might well come in here because it's line out to Fiji at the moment. Frawley gets wiped, absolutely whacked. It's actually him as the ball player and not Henshaw, who I thought got hit, but he also gets hit.
I think the only thing wrong with it is, does he wrap his arm? And potentially he knows the ball's gone, but I think he's committed to the hit. He steps into it, but it's whether he gets that full wrap. So Holly Davidson's happy with it. She's just said to Aroni Maui, I agree. It's hard for those players, isn't it, when you fully have your rib cages exposed. The old never take a dummy.
Well, he's happily north of 130 kilos, is Ironi Maui. And that's mostly granite.
That's textbook, in fairness. You know, there's a good enough wrap of that left arm coming in. Oh, my gosh. Test match rugby is not for the faint-hearted. When you see that, and that's what you have to do on that loop play as the second ball carrier. You know, you obviously have that short runner, but then you've got to take it to the line and be willing to have that shot put on you.
That's it. And you know, we're all talking about player welfare in rugby, but Ronnie Maui and his defensive coaches will be saying, next time he does it, he's not going to be as keen to come as close to the line. And, you know, if you're tough but within the laws, that then affects how the opposition attack it, and maybe just takes a little bit of the threat from Ireland away.
Fiji losing their third line out, which affords Casey this opportunity. Centres working beautifully in tandem this week. Archie onto Henshaw, and then there he is with the clear out, swiftly onto McCarthy. Prendergast holding his little tip on to his captain. Short side again. But the pass doesn't stick. It's a trick we have to watch as that trickles into touch.
Just wonder, Brian, at half-time whether the Irish coaching staff will be talking about how Fiji are defending. It's all very narrow, coming out of the line, trying to stop things, but as soon as they're back in Ireland's half, they're putting 3, sometimes even 4 back waiting for kicks, and I just wonder whether we might see in the second half Ireland attacking from a bit more depth.
I wonder if at half-time there's going to be a change somewhere in the Fijian pack, because their line-out isn't working. Archie with the pirouette. And then cross lines of communications. Prendergast looks to find a man that isn't there. Fortunately, Beelum does the honours. Van der Fleer buys them some front football.
Ireland just losing their shape again, trying to go and they keep on going the same way, exhaust Fiji, but they're going zigzagging a small bit at the moment and playing into Fijian defensive system.
Casey stayed down, they're playing without a 9. He's got a knee injury, whether he got hit late after he threw the ball out the back door then.
Yeah. Time off, please. There's a player down injured.
Farrell speaking quite a lot in the week about how important it is when you're blooding youngsters to sandwich them within experienced individuals.
He screamed off the ball. Does he get hit late here? Yes, he does. That is very late, and it's on the knee. Let's hope he's okay.
So the halfback said ball is out.
Tongi.
Yeah, ball is out, but it's the timing of your tackle afterwards, okay? Once he's passed the ball. It's a penalty here against you.
Cautionary words to Luke Tangi, who's currently playing his club rugby in Bayonne, the high-flying Bayonne in the top 14. Started against England in Twickenham and Australia in that famous win at the World Cup. Ireland.
Probably the one player you don't want to fall on the side of your knee as well. How heavy is he? 150?
So back to Farrell and blooding these youngsters. He's so keen to ensure that they're always paired with someone with a bit more experience, who've been around the block a few more times. Were you surprised, Brian, to see Casey alongside Prendergast at half-back today?
No, because I think Casey needs an opportunity as much as Prendergast needed to start the game. If you think about the age profile of Conor Murray, who's sitting on the bench today, there isn't a glut of scrum halves coming through, so you absolutely have to give him some time as well. He's going to be part of this next World Cup cycle as well, because there aren't other 9s really pushing hard to displace Murray. So I think it's trying to find a happy medium around putting players with inexperience with experience, and I think Prendergast has that in the centre, and Aki and Henshaw, I think you have the capacity to be able to try Casey at 9, albeit he hasn't had a huge number of starts in the green jersey.
Good competition.
It's a proper grapple really there between Byrne and Fiji, but Ireland retain their line-out ball.
Ireland going forward, scrum down.
Why is it not a maul? That should be a maul, surely. That's what Fiji are saying.
And Ireland going forward.
I was just saying, because Fiji had their hands on the ball in the air, it's a competition.
That's your mark.
It wasn't a set-up maul.
Thank you. Guys, let's go.
They're going forward, but
You could argue that Ty Byrne had 60% of the ball versus 40% with Fiji. I think a favourable decision, a popular decision here, but Ireland lucky to get that one, but what a great place to launch from. Left-hand side, You want, from a Fijian perspective, you want your blind side winger to have some form of involvement, but Jacob Stockdale's just hedging his bets to keep him honest. Again, you don't want too many passes when you're this close to the line, trying to be too loose. You have to try and attack at the seam in around 10-12 and then get your pack around the corner, not overcomplicate things. One pass plays tend to feature well here.
Just edging ahead, and Prendergast certainly will be the figurehead of the attack, even if he doesn't get the ball here. Whether Prendergast will loop in behind him. Doris a threat from the base as well, with Fiji's scrum half on this side.
Casey swiftly on to Aki, the danger man, on to Prendergast, ball up over the top. There's nobody home, apart from a splashing Mac Hansen. Ireland have 4. And Fiji seem to have found themselves in the ring with a giant awakening from slumber. Now the smiles, and Mac Hansen back scoring at the Aviva.
What do I know? You know, with my one talk of one pass plays, beautiful, not excessively intricate, but again, that loop play, Prendergast holding enough depth to allow himself plenty of time and accuracy to get that kick. Pinpoint for Mac Hansen to come off his wing and run onto with total comfort, unmarked. Great manipulation of the defence, sucking them in tight, thinking they were going through, to then elevate a little kick over the top. Very, very shrewd from that Irish backline.
Flags go up. Sam Prendergast on his first start is starting to really purr. 28 points to 3. Ireland looking pretty good here today. And barring a miracle, that wait will go on. They need to line out some territory and to give Holly Davidson less of an arm workout. Over in the green corner, Andy Farrell is 120 minutes away from officially handing the keys to his Irish juggernaut over to Simon Easterby. He will have learned an awful lot about his young fly half, Sam Prendergast, and his 2 debutants in the forward pack. Can they keep their foot flat to the floor in this second 40? Can they continue to twist the knife?
Not now, thank you, 4.
And hold these flying Fijians tryless in Dublin.
Okay, use it 9.
We lost Lamani early doors, so it is Matawalu wearing 21 who lifts up a vertiginous effort. Well gathered by Frawley, well clattered by his opposite number. Gus McCarthy laying it back onto Prendergast, and here is Bundiaki, who has had an industrious opening 40. Stockdale back stalking the left wing of the Aviva. Oh, and a lovely line from Tyke Byrne-Porter. The little pop-up onto his locking partner. Here now Frawley swerving, scanning, setting his options. Clear out needs to come, bodies flying over and around the ruck. Casey onto Prendergast, whose pinpoint kick found Hansen in the dying seconds of that first passage of play. Growing in confidence, shrugging off that early yellow card. Here he is again. Delays the pass onto Doris and then gathers and off he sets. Henshaw back in field to Doris, eyes alight with opportunity, but nobody there for the offload. So in off his wing comes Hansen and then Byrne. Casey onto Prendergast, options outlet, Stockdale, the thoroughbred roaring up that touchline.
First clear.
Huge from Fiji on the deck.
Oh, I'd love to get another look at this. First of all, it was Tyke Byrne with the break through the midfield. No one knew actually who had it for a second. I don't even know if he knew he was in possession of it. It was really good play from Ireland. They went from side to side, held on to possession through multiple phases, although equally matched by the Fijian defence, and then, I don't know, questionable access into the ruck by the Fijian jackler. Whether he came through the gate or not, I'm not sure, but Holly Davison thought it was clean enough to award the penalty.
Something I've noticed in that passage of play there was every time Prendergast got the ball, he got into a kicking shape and looked towards the touchline. I think what he's trying to do is force that wide defender in the outside centre channel to start worrying about the crossfield kick and then going. We saw a couple of times Ireland then choosing the passing game and trying to attack into that channel, where he's tried to maybe just open some of those gaps in the defensive line.
Okay, Fiji in front, hold, wait there. Good
pragmatism ruling for Fiji, who opt to send that line out short for the first time today, and it sticks. They need some stability in that area, but more immediately they need to settle into their defensive shapes, because Ireland has been making a mockery of it these first few minutes of the second half.
Not for me.
Prendergast is down and clutching his head. Beg your pardon.
Time off.
Crawley.
He might got a stray boot or knee
Injury here.
while he was on the floor.
Let us do our job.
Whose ball is that? Is that ours?
Just give us some space, thank you.
Oh, tackle.
It's Maui's head as they land on the floor together. Foul play in there.
You could hear Davidson there, just asking Caelan Doris to back away, to leave them to do their jobs. It's hard to believe this is just Doris's 5th time as Ireland captain. It does feel as though he's been in the role for a while. Your thoughts, Brian?
Oh, he's been a leader in the team, there's no doubt. You know, since becoming a regular,
Okay, Mike, are we okay to play on?
18 months ago, 2 years ago, more often than not, in that period of time, being right up there as one of Ireland's best players.
We have no knock-on, so
And then
Ireland last in possession.
when you have all of the components that offer good leadership, he seemed like the obvious choice.
Last in possession when I stop for a head.
But it
okay?
doesn't mean that
Ireland
he has all the answers just yet. Just understanding when to have a little conversation with the referee, when not to push too far. He had
Time back on, please.
a bit of difficulty with that during the summer, where the referees, I think Luke Pearce was one, told him, you know, leave me alone, let me do my job. And I think that's just air miles, that's just experience of knowing
Let's go, guys.
when you can push things, when you have your quiet word,
This is the mark.
and when you just keep your mouth shut and get on with it.
And it's it.
And leaders all around him too. We've got all 4 provincial skippers in the match day 23 today. Ty Burney and Henderson, Cian Prendergast. Plenty of voices to call upon.
Crouch! Bind!
You get a square scrum, we'll come to this right-hand side
Set!
with 2.5 defenders over. Frawley become first receiver.
Down.
I don't know why I ever talk about it when it's a scrum. We almost never get to see what the backline attack looks like. Maybe we'll get a solid scrum this time, but
Shoulders up. Better bind.
served perfectly for Frawley, who's in the pocket, just to come in as a first receiver.
In and set.
Maybe someone like Henshaw running a short line to commit the defenders on the inside, Munns, and then go out the back.
Better height.
Taking a while to reset this scrum. So with that,
Bind!
you can get that solid platform now.
Set!
Beelan will try and do his job of getting that right-hand side up. He continues to drive.
Speed of service from Casey there, and then the offload from Henshaw, still falling but keeping that liquid rugby upfield from Ireland. Archie shaping for the pass, but instead opting to head up the guts of the Fijian defence. Flat from Hansen. Everyone around Frawley there pointing upfield. Kick it was the call.
Just saw how Hansen there drifted on the pass towards the touchline, allowed the flight of the ball to take him out, which means that Nyatha Levu, who's outside him, has to then step back inside. Kick wasn't particularly good.
Number 1.
So they loop round this side.
It's actually Henshaw
Sorry,
is the one
do it later
that,
as well.
that bounces out. Actually does really well, because it's not a great pass. It's stuck inside shoulder, but he still manages to hold it and get the offload to a trailing Frawley.
And this is the one that he drifts on. You see Nyathaleba then has to stay, and that creates the space in the wide channel. So really trying to manipulate Nyathaleba all game, Ireland. Just make it really difficult. He knows they've got the option of going wide with a kicking game or a long pass, so he doesn't want to leave too much room in that outside channel.
5-man.
And just trying to pick and choose when they play slightly tighter in the gap inside him and when they go outside him.
Debutant Gus McCarthy, Ireland's youngest starting hooker in 77 years. Finding Archie on one of those trademark rampaging runs, brings them to within 15. Beelum adding another couple of hard-earned yards. And here's Archie laying it back onto Prendergast. Looks surprised to find himself receiving that one. Is a Chukwu onto Casey. All the tricks coming out of the Irish box. And there we were talking about Fijian flair. Ireland have razzmatazz of their own if this score will stand.
Holly Davison needs to check it because she got taken out. Did really well to get back to her feet.
I have missed what's happened, but...
But she said, I face planted. I didn't actually see that final pass.
OK, Mike, I've been taken out, so I've just missed what's happened behind me. I have a grounding, so my on-field decision is try. Can we just make sure that there is no obstruction prior to the try being scored?
Decision try, taken for obstruction prior to try.
Really, really good play from the scrum half.
Thanks,
I think there's a little bit of self-preservation in it because he knows he's going to get absolutely whacked if he holds on to it for any longer than he does. It's actually not a very good launch play, but they make the most of it. The ball comes in off the touchline, and it's this little offload as Holly Davison is taken out.
I think it's Holly Davison that provides the obstruction. I don't think anyone else does.
Holly.
Mikey, you see
really good decoy line from the ref.
Do I create that hole?
Misake Vote Vote is 6'6".
You can stick with your on-field decision of try, no obstruction.
OK. Try is good.
She rode that well, did Holly? Well, the try will stand, despite the best obstruction work of our Scottish referee. And what a try it was.
What a carry from Aki. That extra leg drive just gives you so much. Then Matt Hansen does really well to control his feet, keep the move alive as they come back to the other side. Aki, with that initial break, finishes off the opportunity he creates.
Three from three on his starting debut. Sam Prendergast, believe the height, 4 from 4. And if a theme of Ireland's autumn has been bounce-back ability, coming out for a 7th time to follow a loss with a win against Argentina, then Bunty Aki being dropped from the matchday 23 entirely has provided that with aplomb this afternoon. Been everywhere. Two changes to bring you up to speed with, but hold it a second because there's another bit of speed to contend with. Archie still blowing from that scores, made 20 metres in the blink of an eye, laid back lightning quick again from Byrne.
Inside the 50.
There's a real confidence about Ireland all of a sudden.
Very close to a 50-22. Craig Casey realised he was just inside his half. Perfect opportunity to try and ping one over. Fijian winger Muntz was the one.
How good's this pass from Prendergast? Look how he buys himself time by drifting away from the defender, almost inviting him to bite out of the line, and then throws the ball, flashes it across the face. Beautiful delivery, accurate, perfect, doesn't have to break stride.
Bit of housekeeping for you. Thomas Clarkson is on wearing 18, who made his debut. A crazy and surreal debut, he said, against Los Pumas last weekend. And Cian Prendergast is on wearing number 20. Connacht captain at just the age of 24. And eager to make some headlines of his own after his baby brother's been the one owning all the column inches in the week.
Time back on, please.
Darkening in Dublin, but the rugby is really starting to cook at the Aviva. Some swagger back in Irish attacking patterns. Izachukwu. Down and onto Casey. Archie finding Doris. This is lovely stuff. Look at them flow up the pitch. Hansen has it with one to be. Driven into touch. Had to be made by Kitioni Salawa.
It went back and then forward.
But they are threatening again and again and again now.
Yeah, Ireland are beginning to click. They're just getting their timing right now.
No.
Pass is being given at the right time.
Guys, we've got people
But
down.
let me tell you, this is wicked defence as well. Matt Canton thinking, oh, I think I can gas him. I've got him, and getting absolutely smashed. Well done, Jacob Stockdale. Lovely offload. And again, Frawley, that's top class.
It's brilliant
back row
from
defence.
It's the way he slows down here to stop the step back inside. He can't be stepped inside. Hansen goes, I've got to go for it now. And then he re-accelerates, puts him into touch. Textbook defending.
It's also the force of the collision when you're on the reach. Only the Fijians can do that. You see it in sevens the whole time, when it's almost like the player's beaten, but then they annihilate them in the collision too. It's such a difficult skill, but it just shows their power.
Okay. Time back.
Jacob Stockdale is off, battered in that final tackle, and you can see writ large on his face the frustration.
Tackle's good.
After the tough time he has had with injury over the last few years. So on comes Connor Murray for his 120th cap in emerald green. Involved in so many of Ireland's finest days, and the British and Irish and Lions too. We're talking about Fijian tackles. Take your pick. There have been so many this afternoon. But Ireland still have the ball. Into pinwheeling Stuart McCloskey, who's carried up over the 10-metre line. Cian Prendergast finding Gus McCarthy. Youngster onto youngster. But what an extra cheeky roll.
Just hides the ball, doesn't he, from the Jackler coming in. What a hit from Tuasova. There's a moment in there just before contact's made where Frawley realises he's made a mistake by holding on to the ball. You can probably hear the breath of Joshua Tuasova on his back.
Yep.
The danger with those hits is that if you're a fraction off, you find yourself in the bin, yellow or red card. But this guy has gotten them spot on today. There's been no shortage of them across the board. Frawley's been on the receiving end a couple of times. And Frenison has bounced up and played on, but Tuasova, Olympic medalist in Rio 2016, Fiji's first medal ever at the Olympics. He was a huge part of that. He's just gone from a couple of different French clubs. Comfortably plays almost right across the back line, but it seems as though centre in the national team, he's made his own.
I'm saying about if you time that wrong, you're in trouble, but by hitting above the centre of gravity, they're the hits that make the feet go up. Hugely dominant.
We've not seen Fiji play for quite some time, and it looks like Robbie starved of it again because Ireland are making a mess of this attacking foray. Gus McCarthy driving Monts back, but a knock-on in the process. Fiji will feed, and with some fresh forwards involved too, because Sam Matavesi, formerly of Northampton, now of Lyon, is on, wearing 16, and we've already met Hairati Hetat, formerly of Otorunga, but he is on now at Loosehead, so fresh legs.
That's it.
Ian Henderson is with us too.
Okay guys, and that's it.
Fresh off signing a new 2-year deal with his home province, I should say, and up in Ulster. There's question marks as to whether he was going to sign on the dotted line. He's been such an important player for them. Stability, and indeed for this Ireland team. Again, you talk about Conor Murray being around for a lot of the successful days. Well, certainly Henderson has also had many big days in green.
Interesting penalty goes against Tom O'Toole. Seeing him on the loose head side, he plays most of his rugby on the tight head, but I think he's realised how well stocked Ireland are in that tight head position and just thinks there might be opportunity, so he's keen to develop himself as one of those props, a little bit like Thomas Dutoit, who can cover both sides.
On the line, guys.
And this is his first shot in anger in green on that loose head side. Not the start he would have wanted, giving away a first penalty, but very valuable experience for him. as he looks to make that transition across.
Get out!
Caught up with massive AC with the ball here in the week. Said that they were absolutely confident they had what it took, this Fijian side. It was just a case of keeping 15 on the pitch, getting their game on the park too. They have struggled in both of those departments for 50 minutes.
Then gone straight back onto the ball carrier.
There's a little juggle from Fiji there, very
You're
lucky to
legal,
hold
you've then
possession
detached and gone straight back onto the ball carrier.
right before the infringement. Regathered it,
Guys,
gives
just
them another
off the line.
shot.
Breaks the 15 to not break it as well. And the last, if they break it,
Just right middle.
The overwhelming sense, though, from the conversation with this man here was of excitement. This is a group bolstered in no small way by the creation of the Ndrua. They've got their sights set on a Nations Cup spot. Kellen Doris had his sights set on Joshua Tuisoba, but rising with it is Elia Kanakaivata. Here Mayana Vanua, and at last we see Fiji threatening an Irish try line, which has been all on its lonesome at the Aviva. No attention for swathes of this fixture, but now Masavesi carries hard. Now they find Tet. Stuart McCloskey in and over the top of that one.
Just need to make sure they resource the breakdown. Might not need it.
Might not need it. There's the stretch. There is the score. And it's a brilliant burst from the base by Kitione Salawa, who's made a try-saving tackle up the other end of the pitch a few minutes ago, and now there he is, banging over Fiji's first.
Well, they were a bit short of bodies. Here's the initial line-out play over the top. The line-out coaches not been having the best day today, but shot on Tuisoba, but as they come, Alan too wide defensively. Maybe Fiji not having too many numbers in the breakdown. They felt comfortable. Ian Henderson goes in to counter up when really he should have gone into that pillar position to the left of the breakdown. Salawa spots it, just drives for the line and then has the length of reach to get the ball over.
A hat-trick against Samoa in their defence of their Pacific Nations crown. And now a score converted by Muntz at the Aviva for the super-sized menace. That is Kitione Salawa.
Yes, McCluskey is grappling, thinking that he can counter the ruck, when in fact he was needed in that defensive guard position. McCarthy was caught just a little bit too wide, thinking that one of his pack was going to fill in there, and that's where Fijian number 7 took advantage.
Backwards. It was a knock-on. Sorry guys, live, I thought backwards.
Knock-on. As that player trying to clear up the scraps when the ball's touched at the last minute. Fiji knock it on.
Tight, guys. Keep the shoulders up on the set.
okay, miss.
That's going to be the mark.
My family, my
So Tom O'Toole in his first professional senior appearance at Loosehead. Tapping and plying down.
Crouch!
Against this Fijian scrum who had the upper hand at
Bind!
their last encounter.
Set!
Casey feeds. Doris rises and swerving around the corner. Tackle in by Matawalu. And the counter-up is voracious.
Counter-up is good, there's the ball. No! Hands away, you're on the ground.
Too tempting. Hand already in the cookie jar.
21,
Wasn't going to let
hands
go
on the
of it.
ground.
Allen were a little bit short themselves in the breakdown there. Bundy Aki did a really good job of swinging his hips round, having expected some green shirts to follow him in on the clear out.
Guys, the line's
Good
going to be
carry
yours.
from Doris.
On the line.
Watch Aki here, goes past, realises as Tuisoba backed off and then he got his hips round, but yeah, referee had said leave it. And Rothavotha couldn't.
Gus McCarthy again, pinpoint, is really starting to find his feet now as Archie digs in both of his. Byrne, virtually omnipresent on the flank against the Kiwis, and the RGs are now in the second row and doing plenty of damage there too. Miklowski's first carry of this one.
Oh, he's lucky to get away with that. He got stuck on his back, turtled. Ball there for the taking. Well, Fijian players was on it for a while, but not long enough for Holly Davidson to penalise.
Patient play here from the Irish, safe in the knowledge that they've got a healthy buffer here. And now Frawley with the 2-on-1, juggled. But another forward pass. Someone's got to tell the Aviva.
Oh, it's frustrating, but look at this from Sam Prendergast. That's what he has, the ability to just hold those passes that little bit longer and then whip it. It's another try gone a begging. Oh, painful. Very, very frustrating. Particularly a guy that is trying to make up for the last time. You want to make sure you convert those ones. The basic enough 2-on-1. Even for an elder statesman, he's going to have the capacity to finish that. Scrum half on the wing.
Yeah, more Fijian cavalry arriving onto the field. Albert Tuasua, who fans of the Gallagher Premiership will know from his exploits at London Irish and at Gloucester, is on. And that young man there, Sitareki Torangafoke, who scored on debut at the age of just 18 against Spain last week. He's played 74 minutes of senior rugby at Stade Francais. He's so newly introduced to this arena.
Much better height on that last one, okay?
He's been pulling up trees well ahead of schedule. Keep an eye on the man wearing 19. Nick Byrne rightfully very excited by the towering Tyro straight into that scrum.
Crouch! Bind! Set! One collapse.
Fiji starting to get a real edge on this particular set piece.
Collapse.
Another one goes against Tom O'Toole on that far side. Wants to have a look at the replay, wants to see what he did wrong.
Another set's done.
Where is David Flatman when you need him? How difficult is it switching sides, Ben? In your experience, how often midway through a fairly successful career do athletes make that switch?
Look, it depends on opportunity as well, doesn't it? If you do all the sets in a scrum session, you know, he will have been training with Ireland in that position plenty until you put it into the heat of a test match when you're running around doing other things as well. But every one of those scrums is a learning process for him. He'll get better and better and better, and then he'll become a viable option for Andy Farrell.
Running out of bodies on that far touchline. It's a delicate dab over the top from Hansen and Wainigolo. Met by a trio of tackles. It's Miklowski's which sticks eventually.
Okay, 9, use it!
Ireland have spent 9% of this match in their own 22. That is how much they have dominated territory. And Fiji clawing back 20 metres there.
On the line, Matt.
The ball handling from Ireland has been much better in the second half. Even when it hasn't been perfect, or the plays haven't gone exactly to plan, there's been great speed of thought, ability to stay on side, move the ball quickly when those Fijian defenders have been committed. The whole thing about changing the point of contact is creating a disorganised defence. When you don't know where the ruck is going to be, you can't set the line, you can't get organised, get your bigger men in close to the ruck, faster men out wide, and that's when broken field play mismatches come into their own. Ireland have managed to convert a couple of times, maybe not as many as they would have liked because there's been more scores gone a begging, but much better in the second half, much more clarity and crispness to what they've been about.
Well, if chaos is what Fiji needs, then they've brought on the man perfectly suited to doing that. Villemonion Botitu plays his club rugby for Cast, but he's an Olympic gold medalist. Bringing him on at this stage is the equivalent of dropping a mint into a bottle of Pepsi. He just fizzes. Brings a different dynamic into the midfield for a Fijian side in desperate need of a bit of go forward. Other brands of soft drink are available. A confident arcing throw from Gus McCarthy, who sets across field because that's the way that all the green jerseys are flooding. Prendergast with the little dab through has to be salvaged by a scurrying Munst.
I think he forgot who his winger was for a second. It wasn't Jacob Stockdale anymore, it was 35-year-old Conor Murray. In fairness to him, he was staying alive for the pass. Very hard to hedge your bets and expect to have the wheels with a cover defence like we saw, but nice option.
Bunziaki with his 15th carry of this one. Looking good for a week off. Prendergast up and on to Frawley. And Casey still with us. He'll go the distance now with Murray out on the wing. Prendergast again, back infield, 1-2 between the halfbacks, one-armed gather by Hansen, already with a try. Switching the point of attack are Ireland, and McCloskey shapes for the offload. Big paw raised and then tucks back in again. Prendergast plays scrum half, Casey plays quarterback, batted back in field.
Tackle.
Knew that it was penalty advantage. Wasn't the world's best option from Casey, but knew he could come back to an opportunity to kick it into the corner. Yeah, just heat pressure. It's been a while since Ireland have gotten their last score. They spent an awful long time then in this Fijian 22 without much reward. Time to put all that pressure into points.
Henderson's ball smuggled backwards and onto the 21-year-old hooker, Casey. Stands behind this emerald tractor which rumbles over. And after a whole heap of huffing and puffing, Ireland have another through their debutant. Gus McCarthy with his first points in international rugby.
Well, bar a couple of poor throws, he's been really good today, McCarthy. A little bit lucky here. You see Burns step out of the line-out to wait, and then hitting with his power from outside the line-out. Last year, the referees were really hot on that, not allowing it at all. This year, it's one of those things that's just drifted away a little bit again, and Ireland's driving play has been superb. This time, they don't need to break out until right at the last minute. Stay straight, and then just rotate the back man in McCarthy round, and as soon as he sees that line, buries his head towards it.
Prendergast and McCarthy were lifting the under-20 Six Nations trophy together. Now here they are, combining for 7 shimmering points before a sold-out Aviva. And McCarthy only initially brought into camp as a training panellist. You think there's a pecking order, Andy Farrell said in the week, and then someone like that goes and forces your hand. Munst back against the grain with a slaloming run, a beautiful offload. He's found the teenager. Well, sometimes you don't need experience when you're just that good. 2 caps, 2 tries. Setarangi Turangathoke. Remember the name.
Well, this one is all about Caleb Muntz. We saw his broken field running against Wales a few weeks ago.
Sorry?
That is an absolutely sumptuous offload. Sucks in all the defenders, has the footwork to go against the grain, and just as he's going to the ground in true Fijian form, just leaves the ball up, knowing there was going to be a support player. And sure enough, the sumptuous offload is hit with a beautiful attacking line. Great score from Fiji.
Who was it?
The big Fijian replacement. Turangathoke.
Absolutely brilliant, as you said, that footwork back inside, but it's just that delay and the hold of the ball in the right hand just to pull Prendergast in. Prendergast lucky he doesn't catch him in the head as he goes over. And as you said, brilliant slide in from Turangathoke. Oh, not matched by Tuisova's kick-off.
High tackle.
It's back-to-back knock-ons from the restart by Tuisova. Joe McCarthy, the grateful recipient of that one in Ireland, straight back into the mix.
Tackle Fiji!
They've retaliated and scored almost immediately after Fiji scores so far.
That's 3 in a row, you've dived over the rock.
And that will hardly help matters.
You still can't dive over the rock. Off you go. Yeah. It's going to be up here.
Wow.
Good, guys.
Hero to villain very, very quickly. Shame for him, but can't just jump over the top of a rock and tackle the 9 even though the ball's lifted. You have to stay on your feet.
Okay, guys, let's go.
Opportunity from the playbook. What variation will we see this time round?
Gus McCarthy still going with a little no-look pass onto his captain.
Exactly the same move as Van der Fleer scored off before. The ball didn't come this time to Prendergast.
Clinging desperately to Archie's ankles there was Muntz. Look at them queuing up for it. It's a battering run from Thomas Clarkson. Hauled down just short. Henderson now with O'Toole in support. Back they go. Hansen for the double!
Oh, it's really well taken, isn't it, from Hansen? They get Fiji as narrow as they can, but still. Nakavata is the penalty, the dive over the top. And then
Thank you.
and they just watch the line here to drift on the pass again from Hansen. Nakavata maybe just guilty at looking a little bit too long at Craig Casey. Not looking up at the man who was opposite him, who drifted out.
Thanks, Mike.
And just bought himself enough room in that wide channel.
Huge credit to Cian Prendergast as well, who runs a really, really tidy line. And actually, if you see how many eyeballs are fixed on him, so many of them think that he's going to get the ball. We've seen Gibson Park so often finding his winger from ruck positions. But look at this line from Cian Prendergast. There's a couple of phases on. I think it's a couple of phases after that. Mightn't get a chance to see it.
He's played the ball.
Well, it's the first blot on Prendergast's copybook when it comes to tea time. Conversion just pulled a little bit wide. But 47-17, Ireland knocking on the door of the half-century. Fiji's penalty count now 16.
Yeah, but you still dived on an emerging ball from the rock.
You can't dive on a ball within a metre radius of the rock. Just getting caught on every little law, aren't they, Fiji, at the moment around this ruck. Diving over the top, diving on a ball that squirts out of it.
Thank you.
Over 10 metres, 53 passes, just show the width that Ireland have played with, particularly second half. It's really opened up as Fijian defence narrowed. They've gone to the wide game, really exploiting it.
Matt Hansen and Conor Murray just swapping roles so that Matt Hansen can run the slightly more difficult roll off the back of the line out here.
Prendergast down and onto Casey. Here's the other Prendergast, and now Archie still going. Beats one, thunders over the top of the other. He's over the whitewash. If he's got that down, referee says no. Carried half of Fiji with him, Bundiaki.
The pace he was backpedaling at as he goes over the line, you knew he was going to find it difficult to find the ball, but that option out of the back and the step on Muntz is really good. Then the power, and now they've got him. Actually, it's really good defence, the way they hold him in that backwards position. Bundiaki is fighting with all his life to try and spin round before he crosses the whitewash. He knows he's compromised, and they just let him keep coming. They let the Irish boys drive him over and then hold him up. Good defence in the end.
Casey. Switch finding Hansen on that inside shoulder, looking for soft Fijian shoulders, but none of those exist on this occasion. Prendergast whipping it. Slightly flat and slightly dipping. McCloskey from that great height can't catch.
We've seen a couple of great passes from Prendergast. That one didn't match them. Actually just needed simplicity. I think it was through the hands. Was going to do the job rather than trying to find the
on the hip,
Hail Mary pass.
I can't see your shoulders dropping below
forward
your hips. That's what me and my AR are seeing at the moment.
To make it even worse. Not a good shot selection.
Don't collapse it.
He's got two decent runners there in Henderson, and O'Toole doesn't have to go to the wide man. He played himself well into the second half. It hasn't been without error, but he's grown in confidence, and we've seen certain attributes that have gotten him to this place as a starting number 10 at a very young age. It'll be better for this experience.
Crouch! Bind! Set! Stay there. Onside 9, onside.
Matawali just looking to draw Casey in there. Tuisova finding the man on his inside. This is Mbutitu, and we know just how lethal he can be when he gets an inch of space. Muntz with an unsympathetic pass the wine Golo.
Just brilliant recovery defence from Ireland there. Brilliant break initially, but Ireland beat Fiji round the corner, and they get 3 people, so that as they look to sweep round down that same way side, they see a green wall in front of them. The initial play is really, really good. Ireland guilty of getting a dogleg in their defensive line. Do really well to hold on, but look how many green shirts get round to this corner.
Perfect. Okay, guys. Sam? That's going to be your mark.
Yeah, all good.
Guys, let's go.
I think it's McCluskey is the one that makes the bad read in the first place. He plays very high, thinking there's an intercept and maybe a score for him, but they played through the middle, and it's his error that he realises he needs to get himself back into a position, defensive position. Does a good job of forcing the error.
So Bundiaki's afternoon is done. Now it's time to put him on ice ahead of Australia's visit next weekend. So Caelan Doris, yes.
Hybrid player.
Shades of Eddie Jones.
Anything England can do with Ben Earl, Ireland can do with Caelan Doris.
Tell you what, that'll be a good back row. Andy Farrell with eyes on both of them, probably ahead of his Ireland onto British and Irish Lions sabbatical. But at last, we get the glorious sight of Jutoaini Olo in space. His counterpart Mbutitu is hauled into touch, but just a glimpse at what Fiji might have threatened with today if they could have kept everyone on the park and strung together something slightly more cohesive.
Well, they started the game with a lot of the ball, didn't they? The possession stats are now 62% in Ireland's favour. And this is what we want to see, more of the Fijians ball in hand.
9 played the ball as the call came in.
Get through a few phases where they can stress that Ireland defence.
The 9's played it. The 9's played it out. Time off.
It's actually Gus McCarthy who's gone into the back row.
Yeah.
Bundyaki leaving the field, and now both of them to play off this line out. Doris alongside McCarthy in that midfield, bit of treatment going on.
Well, it's Meli Doranalangi, blindside for Fiji, receiving a little bit of treatment.
I'm not sure.
Oh, Elia Sanakayavata.
He'll be back on at 76.50.
Conor Murray is before our commentary position, hands on hips, he's out on the wing. Caelan Doris in the midfield before his trip to Monaco. He's up against a host of stars for that World Rugby Player of the Year accolade.
5-man. Ball through the mark.
What a shunt. The back of that one, 5 metres just inhaled there by Ireland. Casey onto McCloskey. Thrilled to have a run out. Spots in that Irish midfielder, collects his item with the talented generation he finds himself a part of.
20.
Well gathered there by Mbotitu. Matawalu's carry. Matavesi in and over it. Here is Mbotitu again. Up and over the top, the cut-out pass, leaving Prendergast with a tackle to make, and he just about manages it. Fits a somersault into the mix too. Ireland have it back. Oh, it's helter-skelter stuff. Things really breaking up in these dying minutes. Unsurprising, perhaps, given how out of position Ireland find themselves. How often has Caelan Doris defended in the midfield? Though, as I say that, he makes a tackle on Tuasue. Karawalevu catches that one airborne.
Counter-up is good.
Counter-up is good, says the referee. I'd say more than that. I'd say it's great because they've won it back and now they've got the free hits. Hansen hunting for a hat-trick. Frawley to Prendergast, the two playmakers linking up neatly. Ball sits up. Oh, not quite. Stuart McCloskey.
Quality of those crossfield kicks have been really good in terms of keeping the trajectory really low, not allowing that final defender to get back out to the wing.
23 side entry when the counter-up is good.
Fiji, an impressive effort from Josh Tuasova in the centre, who's probably one of the shining lights. I thought Caelan Doris had one of his really good performances as Ireland captain, but for me, head and shoulders above everyone else is Bundyaki. 17 carries for 176 metres. Everything he was involved in was positive. And for a guy that was left out last week, well, that's the ultimate response you want to give your coach. Who says that he's over the hill at 34 years of age. I tell you, there's some playing left in this boy.
Let's go, guys.
He is a world-class basher, and it's been received with absolute ecstasy here in the Aviva. One of Connacht's and Dublin's favourite sons.
Yeah, good there. Thank you.
30 points the difference, 15 metres the ground to make up. Kelleher on to Prendergast, and Doris finding Kelleher again. It's straight off the training paddock. It's down.
A bit of offers from Matawalu sparked a bit of a brawl here. After Kelleher scored, he went in with his shoulder in the back. Casey takes offence to it. The two scrum halves go at it, and everyone else piles in.
Well, the result, a foregone conclusion before that one was jotted down. But things still boiling nicely at the Aviva.
Look like they're driving, don't they? But look at Kelleher.
Yeah, just got
paused, waiting on that touchline. All the Fijian eyes inward towards the maul, expecting the big drive. Doris bounces out, gets round the first defender, and that forces the last man to step in. And as soon as Tanakavita steps in, the pass is delivered, and Kelleher's going to slide over.
It's stupid. The score is dotted down, and he comes in with a little bit of afters. And Casey waiting for backup very quickly. Takes umbrage to it. A good score from Kelleher. Always nice to come off the bench, get on the score sheet, particularly when McCarthy's had such a good game in the number 2 jersey.
I'll speak to 9, okay? Thank you.
It is far from the end of their autumn that Fiji will have wanted, and that only compounds matters. But they will look back on 2024 as a vintage year. 7 wins out of 10, their campaign will finish. Another Pacific Nations crown, a first ever win in Cardiff. And this man really finding his feet at rugby's top table. Looking right at home in the company of giants is Muntz.
9. No more of the corner. No more, I've spoken to him as well. Thanks, Gordon.
Ireland too. Be delighted to have found some form this evening, because there is a stiffer challenge arriving on these shores next weekend. High-flying Wallabies outfit with the mastermind that they know so well, Joe Schmidt, back in Dublin. They want to finish with a flourish, but they find themselves on defensive duties. Fiji's ball up over the 10-metre line. Muntz screaming for it. Tuasue obliges. Over the top, the dink from Kalara Levu. The chase is on. Murray just about gathers.
On the body, not on the ball, no hands, thank you.
So many bodies descending upon him. The clock is red. Prendergast will doff it into the stands. And after sputtering into life this autumn, Ireland roaring once again in Dublin. Back-to-back wins for the first time since February, and in a year where they have picked fights with titans. 2 debuts handed out. Sam Prendergast entrusted with that hallowed green number 10 jersey, and 52 points put on the Flying Fijians. It is full-time at the Aviva. Ireland 52, Fiji 17.